If you want better decisions under pressure, you have to stop moving faster. Because the faster you go, the worse your decisions tend to become. In the next few minutes, I'll show you the 3 patterns that show up almost every time pressure increases. And more importantly, how you can interrupt them in real time without slowing everything down unnecessarily. I'm Melanie, leadership coach working with leaders in high-pressure environments, often in situations where decisions have real consequences and where speed can easily be mistaken for effectiveness. Mistaking speed for effectiveness is especially relevant if you're leading teams or making decisions in high-stakes situations or operating in environments where everything feels urgent. Because in the moment, none of these feel like mistakes. They feel like the right thing to do. The first pattern, speed replaces clarity. When pressure rises, decisions get faster, but alignment gets weaker. Movement increases, but direction often doesn't. And here's what that looks like in reality. You leave a meeting thinking, we've made progress. But a day later, people move in slightly different direction. One simple way to interrupt this, and I'll keep it very practical, is to ask before closing a discussion, what exactly are we deciding and what are we not? That one question alone can bring clarity back into the room. The second pattern, talking replaces thinking. As pressure increases, silence disappears. There's more discussion, more input, more opinions, but less reflection. And often the most valuable contribution is the one that never gets spoken because no space was created for it. A simple shift here. Instead of filling the silence, create it. For example, let's take 10 seconds before we respond. Now, that sounds really small, but it completely changes the quality of thinking in the room. The third pattern, control replaces trust. Leaders step in more, usually with good intention, to help, to fix, to move things forward. But something else happens at the same time. The team steps back and ownership quietly drops. One powerful shift here is to replace answers with questions. So instead of saying, here's what we should do, try, what do you think is the best next step? You often get better thinking and much stronger ownership. In the moment, all of this feels like leadership. It feels active, it feels engaged, it feels productive, but it often leads to the same outcomes: misalignment, frustration, and repeated conversations. Because pressure doesn't change behavior, it makes your default patterns louder. So the real shift isn't about doing more, it's about noticing earlier. The exact moment you feel the urge to speed up, and that moment is usually very physical. You feel tension, you feel urgency, you feel like you need to act now. That's your signal. If you take one thing from this, let it be the following. Next time you're in a high-pressure situation, don't try to change everything, but just notice, am I speeding up right now? And if the answer is yes, interrupt it. Even briefly, because that small pause is often the difference between reaction and real leadership. Better decisions rarely come from moving faster. They come from creating just enough space to think. So, where do you notice yourself speeding up most under pressure? I'd be curious to hear. You can put them in the comments. For more brain science-backed leadership insights on how to stay effective under pressure, click subscribe to Leadership Coaching Outdoors, because great leadership steadies your entire system.